All right, what is going on, everyone? Anthony Cofrancesco here from Data Dive, and this is Office Hours. We've had a couple weeks of just doing Q&A, so we're getting back into our content, and we're going to continue after this week. This week is going to be Speed Round Enterprise. So we've walked you through and done Speed Round for product validation, product launching, optimizing, and then optimizing part 2. So this is where we're going to wrap up this section on Speed Round. It's going to be about the enterprise workflow. Now that you know those other 3 workflows, this should be enough for you to start scaling these operations, implementing across your business, and then ideally training your team how to go and do some of these workflows without your assistance. And if you're not there yet, well, we'll cover that about how you can book a coaching call with the team. So let me go here and share my screen. I think everyone should be able to see it. So like I said, welcome. This is Speed Round and this is Enterprise. So if anything that I'm covering today, if any of the workflows, you're like, man, I don't really fully understand, or I don't feel confident doing this myself, number one thing I'll say is to watch the YouTube videos. And then once you've watched the videos, then book a training call with the team. I do recommend that you take a little bit of incentive, a little bit of initiative rather on your end to try to learn some of the content before getting on a call, practicing with the tool, just so that we can best utilize everyone's time. You can scan this QR code or go to datadive.tools/demo. At the end, there's going to be time to ask questions. There's 2 ways you can ask questions. You can raise your hand. We're going to answer those typically first, and then you can also ask your questions in the chat. So there's 3 different ways if you're new to Data Dive or you're trying to learn more that you can become an expert. We have our knowledge base powered by our AI chatbot. We have our YouTube channel, and then we do office hours 3 times a week. So if you want to access the knowledge base, you can click on this question mark icon in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and you can either navigate directly to the knowledge base by clicking on it here, or you can type in a question. The knowledge base is written and step-by-step articles that explain how to do most things inside of the tool. So if you search for a question like how to start a dive, it's going to pull up the related article or just give you the answer right here. All of the past office hours sessions are live on the YouTube channel. I'm getting a lot of great views and engagement on those. You can find them. I would recommend watching the new office hours playlist. This is our V2. Because this is our second time going through this set of content that we've done. A quick announcement. I know I've said this for the past couple of weeks, but if you didn't realize, we doubled the usage on standard and enterprise plans. So now with a standard plan, you're able to add 1,000 competitors to research every month, or you can track 1,000 keywords on Rank Radar. Enterprise users also saw all of their usage doubled, and we're not charging any extra for that. If you're on a starter plan, unfortunately, this is not going to apply to you, but this is the motivation to upgrade, I think, to standard. The starter plan is really for if you are very new at selling or you just want to get your hands dirty using the tool without spending too much money. If you're trying to do any serious work, you're going to need the standard plan, but we think this usage limit increase really helps build value there. So this is going to be the last segment of Speed Round. If you're looking at the office hours videos on YouTube, quick start guide is high level. How do I understand the overall picture of what's going on? Speed Round is all about repetition. So we validate 3 products in 30 minutes, launch 3 products in 30 minutes, optimize 3 products in 30 minutes. Today, we're going to be taking those 3 products that we validated, launched, and optimized, and I'm going to be placing those into the enterprise workflow, show you how you can organize that work and start scaling your operations. Next, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what you can expect next week, we're going to be doing real world case studies. So I think we're going to be doing this for a few weeks where we actually look out into the real world, have talked with some of our users and are able to share some of the results, timeframes, expectations, failures or mistakes of case studies that actually happened in the real world. So just to do a quick review of what we've done over the past 4 weeks, I'm going to show you a quick overview of these workflows. Now, I've been at Data Dive for almost 2 years now, might be a little more than two years now. And when I first got here, I kind of thought that Data Dive was all of these unrelated parts, right? You had your MKL, you had the listing builder, and mostly everything in the tool, I didn't see as much value. Like, why do we have all of these things in here? The longer that I spent at Data Dive, the more I realized that Data Dive seems really complicated if you look at it as a bunch of individual parts. But if you start thinking about the tool from the perspective of a workflow, that there's multiple tools that you use, and if you use them in the correct order, in the correct process, there's actually really simple, really clearly defined workflows that you can implement. And so when we're building out this content, my biggest goal is, how do I take this program that is actually quite complicated and very confusing, and how do I make it really simple? The goal with Data Dive is that you can hand off these workflows to anyone, regardless of their prior knowledge and experience in Amazon FBA. There's guardrails that are built into this workflow that you could have a user, and we were just at Prosper Show, we talked to many people that fit this profile. They have 2,000 products in their portfolio, okay? And they are just not spending a lot of time, let's say, on optimization. And there's very few people on their team that are focused on SEO and rewriting their listings. And the reason why it seemed like the largest pain point these people have is that they just really weren't sure where to go, how far to go before they've done enough in terms of SEO, and like what steps to take. So the thought is that if I hand off this optimization workflow to a member of the team, there's enough guardrails built inside a Data Dive that if you just follow these steps, you're going to achieve a better result than someone who has been selling for years, but they're not really confident in terms of how the Amazon algorithm works. So I'm going to spend just a minute and go through these workflows. If you're watching this and you're not confident about any part of these workflows, or how to implement them, or what a certain step means, then you should definitely ask that in Q&A. Further, if you still don't understand after Q&A, and that's very reasonable, that's very fine, what you should do is you should watch the speed round for each of these parts: validate, launch, and optimize. And then you should book a training call with the team, and they can actually walk you through how to execute these workflows. So validation is where everything is going to all start off. Right? You have an idea for a product and you want to determine, is this product risky? Is this going to be a good idea to sell? What's the budget required to launch? What's my probability of success? So the validation workflow is really straightforward. At the top here, I have these expectations. I like to include this because before, validating a product might take 4+ hours. The first time that you do this, it's going to probably take you 45 minutes. But once you've done it 5+ times, it's going to get quicker and quicker, right? You just got to build the muscle, the mind memory, I guess I should say. So by your 5th time, it should take about 10 minutes. And this is, once you're finished with this process, you're going to have a really good idea of where a product stands in terms of viability and risk. So in order to validate a product, you're just going to start your dive. You're going to clean your master keyword list. You're going to do a quick analysis of the overview tab that's inside of the MKL. Then you're going to fill out the product scorecard, you're going to fill out the profits tool, and you're going to run the AI brief. Once you've completed those steps, you're going to get at the end a completed product scorecard. Remember, high positive scores, low risk; large negative scores, high risk. Right? You're going to have an answer on the profit scorecard, on the profits tool rather, for what's the budget required to launch this product. And the AI product brief is going to give me ideas of how I can improve the product to do better than the current sellers. So if you're going through a list of products that you want to validate, you can just knock these out. Once you've done this a few times, you or your team, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes a little longer, but you can get through that workflow pretty quick. Once a product passes validation and you say, okay, I think there might be some opportunity here, or I think even though this is a high risk product, I feel that we are advanced enough sellers to go and compete in this competitive market. So once you've decided that it passes validation, you're going to launch the product. Again, before, these things used to take hours and hours to do. The first time, expect it's going to take you a bit longer. You're learning how everything works. I would say it'll take you about 90 minutes. But once you've done this 5+ times, you're going to be able to go through this whole launch workflow, I'd say in around 30 minutes. So the process here for launching the product is going to be, you've already done everything else on the previous step. But now all you have to do is write the listing, take the AI's work, you're going to modify it, you're going to check it. Then you're going to analyze the AI product brief, see what people like, dislike, what needs to be in the listing. You're going to analyze deep dive, see what are the current images that are inside the listings. What do I definitely need? How can I improve upon those images? You're going to use the information from the AI product brief and deep dive to make a creative brief that you're going to either send to an agency or you're going to do the work yourself, photography and graphic design. And then you're going to create your PPC campaigns for launch. So again, in about 30 minutes, you're going to have the nuts and bolts of what you need to successfully launch this product. Okay. Then once you've launched the product, it's up on Amazon. Now we're in the optimization workflow. So what we're going to do, I broke this down into two parts. So really the SEO and then PPC is in the later module. So again, this is going to take you before to optimize a single product. And I talked to people at Prosper that told me this. It's taking them hours to figure out what should I be changing and then to make those changes and to track those changes. Your first time, this is actually one of the faster things you can do. Now, this does play into the fact that you've already done a lot of this prep work. So now all you have to do is go in, find the areas that you're not ranking for, and then dial in your SEO. So the first time, this will take you about 30 minutes. The fifth time you do it, I'd say it should take you about 15 minutes. So first thing is you're going to check your SEO. You're going to check your relevancy. You're going to inspect the master keyword list and try to find any gaps in the MKL, areas where you're not ranked organically as high as you'd like to be. You're going to compare that to the listing builder and say, okay, are those gaps that are in the MKL, are they also in the listing? And if those gaps do exist in the listing, or there's an opportunity to move, let's say, a broad match to an exact match, you're going to rewrite the listing, ideally 1 or 2 keywords at a time. You're going to set up your rank tracking, and then you're going to go in probably every day and make small tweaks to the listing, go through an iterative testing phase until you see the results improving. So that's your optimization workflow. That was part 1. Part 2 was the office hours where Brandon came and joined us. He showed us a little of his PPC account overlaid with the organic ranks. And so the process here is you're going to check your SEO. You're going to diagnose and fix any click-through or conversion rate issues. You're going to analyze Rank Radar. You're going to analyze your PPC performance, and then you're going to optimize your campaigns. So the last step is really taking a detailed look at your PPC and deciding, am I investing too much, or am I actually not being aggressive enough with these keywords? And you're going to be tracking your organic rank as you're making changes to those PPC campaigns to really dial in what's the exact best level that I need to be at so that I'm over time increasing my organic rank and I'm getting more and more sales from organic. So, let's take a breather here. That was a lot. Those are our workflows: validate, launch, optimize. With their coaches, they're getting on a lot of calls with different users. I am working my hardest to try to just, when you're on calls, stick to these workflows, teach these workflows, because there's a million different ways that you could explain how Data Dive works. This is how the tool is intended to work. And if you just think about, okay, there's an action that I want to take at the end, whether that is like evaluating the risk level of a product, having a successful product launch, optimizing for SEO, optimizing my PPC campaigns, there's an action that you take. And every action that you take should have some impact on organic rank. Either your organic rank is going to go up when you change your listing, it's going to go down, or it's going to stay the same. When you modify PPC campaigns, your organic rank is either going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to stay the same. What I want to encourage you to do, and this is where the enterprise workflow comes in, is I want to encourage you to be taking way more of these small micro actions on your products. You can see here that the cumulative time to knock these things out is actually very low. So in an 10-hour day, how many of these small micro actions can you take? And then over time, you're not going to go from having a really low organic rank overnight the next day to having a really high organic rank. This is going to be a small iterative process. Day by day, you're going to go in product by product. You're going to make these tiny little changes. You're going to pull these little levers. And over time, you're going to see an increase until you work your way up to be the #1 seller in the niche. if you have a product that's high quality enough and people like, and an offer that can allow you to get there. But Data Dive can show you exactly, if you just pull these little levers every single day, the compound marginal gains of this daily work is going to really benefit you. And that's what we're going to show you in real world case studies. So the enterprise workflow, this is something, again, we haven't covered often before. This might take probably much longer than 2 hours if you're trying to manually organize this workflow. I'd say the first time most of this is going to be set up. It's probably take about an hour. I'm going to see how much setup we can get through in the next 30 minutes. But the workflow runs like this. You're going to set up your spaces. You're going to set up your labels. You're going to categorize your niches. You're going to set up rank tracking, and you're going to assign workflow. And then after you assign the workflow to your team, you're just going to keep optimizing it and kind of just loop these last 2 steps. You're going to do that over and over. So what I want to do now is I want to go over to my Data Dive, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do this in real time here because we've got about 40 minutes left, and obviously we'll do Q&A. So if you want to drop any questions into the chat, feel free to do that. But what I've done here is I've just come down to the left-hand side of my screen, and I went to your account. That's my account. And this is where you can get the settings for the enterprise features. So we've got our team, right? This is showing all the different members of my team. We have a few different organizations as well. And then what I really want to look at are spaces, and I want to look at labels. So I'm going to clear all of the data that I have here right now, and we're just going to start from scratch. But while I'm doing that, I just want to explain very quickly what's the difference between spaces and what's the difference between labels. So spaces, I would think about our product portfolios. So let's say, for example, I'm an agency, I'm working with a bunch of different clients. I could create spaces for each of my different clients, and then inside of each of those spaces, I could even make smaller groupings to organize products, organize brands. Spaces can also be used for product portfolios. So I think that's the standpoint that I'm going to go in right now. In this example, is I'm going to say I'm a seller. I've got multiple brands under my portfolio. I'm looking at launching new products. And so I'm going to use spaces to categorize the different brands that I have. So if you remember from the real world case studies, we picked 3 products. We had the kids binoculars, we had the mini trampoline, and we had the cat tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create spaces for each of those different brands. And I'm going to call, I can't remember exactly what I did in office hours for the naming of these brands, but I'm going to call my pet brand, I'm going to call it Anthony's Pets. Very great name. Okay. And then for the kids binoculars, I'm going to call that, I don't know, Sci-Explorer, EXPLORER. Again, I don't really love these brand names, but we're just doing it on the fly. So we had Anthony's Pets, Sci-Explorer, and then Fit Max Kids. So those are going to be my 3 brand names, right? So these are the product portfolios that I'm making in terms of spaces. And you're going to see how these come into play when I go over to my niche pipeline, and I'm going to categorize different products that fit into each of these groups. Then if I go over here to labels, and I'm going to have a lot more to delete here, so please just bear with me. You can see that spaces are designed to be different from labels, whereas spaces are portfolios of products, labels are steps in a workflow. So you can see here, this is an old workflow that I had created. It looks like for validating products, because I'm like, doing the AI product brief, etc. So completing the product scorecard. So I'm going to make a really long workflow here that's basically going to take a product from ideation all the way to validation and launch and optimize. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these 2. I'm just going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to try to think about the workflows that I have here. Maybe I won't go as granular here, but I'm just going to basically start it from scratch. So I'm going to start off my workflow with like ideation, right? So I come up with an idea for a product, and then I'm going to say like validation. I'm going to call this the scorecard. Oh, let's see. Oh, I have to add it here. So validation, and I'm going to call this the scorecard. Okay, and then we're going to do validation. We're going to call this profits. And then after we fill out the profit scorecard, then we're just going to say, we'll just keep it simple and we'll say either pass or we'll say fail. So I'm going to come up with the product idea, then we're going to fill out the scorecard, we're going to fill out profits, and then from there, the product is either going to pass or fail validation. I might have a step in between where I order samples and I do some deeper dive. Maybe there's an initial pass versus like a final pass. But now we're going to move on here and we're just going to, so we're going to go into launch. So, right, what are we going to do? We're going to assume that if something passes validation, then we're going to move on it into, I'll just call the first step launch prep. So it's kind of where just something sits after it's passed validation, it's going to sit in launch prep. Then we're going to say launch, we're going to write listing. Did I do that wrong? Okay. Okay, so then we launch it, we write the listing. We'll probably do like AI, I can't do that. AI deep dive and product brief. All right, so we write the listing, we analyze the AI, we analyze deep dive, and we create a product brief, or I'll call this a creative brief. Okay. And then what do we want after this? So yeah, we'll create our PPC campaigns for launch. Okay. And then we'll actually launch the product. We'll say launch and monitor. And then again, there's going to be some more steps for this. We want to put in like, enroll in Vine program. I'm keeping these to the steps in the workflow just to keep it simple. So once the product is live, we're obviously going to want to monitor it. Then we're just going to have in the steps for optimize 1 and 2. So I'm going to keep this one simple. I'm just going to say once we launch and monitor. So I'm going to put in a step here for analyze rank radar. Oh, I did that. So you notice what I'm messing up there is that I'm clicking on this checkbox. You want to keep everything in these clearly defined workflows, and you can have multiple. You could break this down into multiple workflows. You can go to whatever level of detail you want. So I'm going to say like analyze rank radar. And then I'm just going to make a few different optimizations. So I'll say like optimize SEO. Like scroll down, there we go. Optimize SEO. I'll say optimize CTR. And then I'll wrap up with optimize PPC. Okay. And then I'm going to add in just one other step, which is a holding ground. I'm just going to say like free. Okay. And I'm going to move up this pre-optimization holding. So it's basically like, I don't know, either someone's like actively going in every day and analyzing rank radar, or it's in like this pre-optimization holding where it's like, okay, this product is selling, but we're not taking any any current actions on any of these. And then let's say that it's in here. We're like, okay, we haven't focused on this product, this brand in a while. Let's drop it now into like pre-optimization holding or optimization SEO, CTR, et cetera. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop my screen sharing just so I can clean up the view for a second. But what I'm doing right now is I'm navigating over to my niche pipeline, and I'm going to start to categorize some of the products that I have here. So I think all of these are good to sell, to show. Let's see, I'm going to pull up the cat tree. I'll show you what I'm doing. I think we're still doing great on time here. So I'm opening up some of these niches. So I think, let's see. Yeah, let's get the cat tree. We're going to get the kids binoculars, kids mini trampoline. Looks like we have a fidget toy as well. I'm going to open up the niche pipeline and grab a few more of these. They don't let you, from the niche pipeline, it doesn't let you open in a new tab, which is you know, not ideal. I will do the facial barrier cream too. Cool. So what I want to start doing is I want to start categorizing where these things are going to show up in my niche pipeline. And I just want to look at one more thing and show you guys some of the views inside of here. So if I close this, let's see, I'm going to switch over to this board view. Right now I'm in the niche pipeline, and you can see here that I've got 862 niches, and I'm going to move everything over. I guess I can't move things into the unassigned. That's okay. So what I want to do is I can view things by space, or I can view things by label. So if I go through and click on these checkboxes here, you're going to see that out of the 864 niches I have, nothing is currently categorized. So what I'm going to do when I want to categorize these products, let's see here if I refresh this page, you can actually categorize everything. Where are we? Here we go. So it looks like this will disappear unless you're hovering over it. So that's a new feature. But if I look here, I can see my organization is Data Dive. I have to hover over this spot right here in the middle, and I can click Add Space or Label. So this is the cat tree. So I'm going to put this into Anthony's Pets as a space. And for label, I'm going to say we are in the Optimize SEO stage. So I'm going to update those. And now it'll start to categorize. You can see if I hover over it, it'll assign this space, it'll assign this label. So next we have this fidget toys. I'm going to add a space or a label. I'm going to put this one in Anthony's Best Pet Products. That is very weird. Here we go. So I'm going to say this is going to be my Sci Explorer brand, and I'm going to put this is just a product idea. So I'm going to say we're in ideation for this. And I'm going to update that. I'm going to go to my kids mini trampoline, and this is going to be in my FitMax Kids brand. And we're going to say this one is in, let's say we're launching this one. So we're going to be in launch prep. This was the only product that somewhat passed validation. The kids binoculars, this is going to be part of that Sci Explorer brand. And the kids binoculars was very competitive. So I'm going to say that, well, we'll actually say that we're in the like PPC optimized phase. So I'm going to update that. And then I think we already got this cat tree, and we'll get rid of the facial barrier cream. Okay, so now we have some of those categorized. And if I refresh this page, we should start to see these products that are showing up. Right, so we've got 2 products in our Sci Explorer. We've got another product in our kids trampoline. We've got another in our cat tree. So I can also do this, like if I type in camp ecom, or it might be actually CE. Oops. See where I put these things. CE 23. There we go. So you can see here, and I'm thinking if there's a good way to do this. Like these are some of the products that we did at Camp Ecom. So I'm just going to show you and categorize these as well. And I'm going to put these in as product ideation because that's kind of the workflow we went through when we were at Camp Ecom. So I can close out some of these tabs just so I don't get too many up. And I think if I'm in the table view, I go to Camp. I think I can actually do this right here inside of the page, right? I can just put these, I can start assigning these right now without having to go into each tab. I don't know how to do this on the board view, but like, so the camping toilet bag, I'm going to put this into SciExplorer, and I'm going to say that this is just ideation. Okay, so you can see I'm going to go through and do 21 products, and it's only going to take me a minute. So frosted cornflakes, I'm going to say is SciExplorer as well. And we're going to say this is an ideation. Actually, we've filled out the scorecards for these, so I'm going to say that's in fail. Shells are going to go, it doesn't really fit any of these brands. I'm going to put it in FitMax Kids. I'll have to make a new brand for that. This is ideation. Let's see, Sprout Growing Kit. We'll say this is SciExplorer. The UI is a little weird that, it's not just taking the first thing I pick, but this will get better. This is ideation. Toilet foam paper. We'll say this is FitMax Kids. And some of these, like we have filled out a product scorecard for. So like I'm going to say we've filled out the scorecard. And I'm not going to go through and do all of these. I think you get the point of how this is working. It's just going to be, it'd take me another 60 seconds. I think you basically get the point. I don't think there's any way that we can update all of these to ideation. Let's see if we can. We're learning together. Okay, so I can. So I can update all of these at once if I check the ones that are remaining. And I'm going to drop these all in, update the label for all of them. And I'm going to put all of these in ideation. And now I can bulk assign. Beautiful. So that was great. If I made another brand, I could put in like an unmarked brand for these. Again, I'm not sure how to achieve that same thing in the board view, like how to update the space or the label right here. I might be able to click it now, but if a product is unassigned in there, if I scroll a little bit further down that list and I remove that filter, right? Like there, I can just click right on it and I can update there as well. So it actually is pretty intuitive. Cool. So right now I'm looking at the view that is showing me spaces. So I have a whole bunch of stuff in SciExplorer. I have some in FitMax Kids and Anthony's Pets. You probably won't view the niche pipeline often as in the space view, just because what's the probability, or what's the likelihood, I guess I should say, that you're going to like move things in between brands. I think if you build out spaces, it's just for you to get more organized, and you're going to keep, I'd say, everything there. The more likely view, the more common view is going to be to view things by labels. And then if you click on these checkboxes, it's going to show you all of the steps here that we built out for this workflow. And this is a long workflow. I'd probably recommend building separate workflows, but having slightly more detail. So if I wanted to start taking products from this left-hand side and unassigned, right? This is just the start of the workflow, but I could say like, oh, this garlic press is good. I want to move this now. Is it going to let me? I think this is locked because this is yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not letting me drag out of this column, so I'd have to manually assign that. But you can see that I already have in my workflow from start to finish, I have a bunch of different products that I have in ideation. And so now, like with the phone sunshade, I know we did this example at Camp Ecom. I could move it to validation, to the filling out the product scorecard after profits is filled out. And I can tell you right now that for that product, where did it go? Yeah, I know for that product, it's going to fail validation. So like this brush, I'd have to move it over a little bit more, but like I can move this. Well, here we are. I'm so sorry. This is, it's messing me up a little bit. So if I want to move this, whoa. I think that's just me. Not really a great, yeah, I don't think that's me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually update this, and I'm going to say that this failed validation. And I'm going to save that. So let's say that I have a product here in ideation and I want to assign, right now it looks like for this Quark Globe, Bryant is the person who's assigned for this. So what I can do is I can say I'm going to move this from ideation and I'm going to move it into the product scorecard. So I want someone to fill this out in the scorecard, but then I'm going to change the assignee to Andres on the team. I'm going to click save, and you're going to see that now this is going to move over into the scorecard for the Quark Globe. And then Andres is going to get a notification that, hey, we want you to fill out the product scorecard. If I want to take it a step further, what I can do is I can open up the niche itself. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And I can actually go over here to the product scorecard tab. And I can leave Andres some feedback, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, oh, no, I think it's only going to let me do it in the MKO. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah. So I guess there's only certain parts of the sheet. I'm getting some good UI fixes that I'll send to the team. I haven't used this in a while. But let's say I want to give Andres some feedback. And so I'm going to say at Andres, just assign this Quark Globe for validation. Please fill out scorecard plus profits tool and reassign to @Bryant when completed /n pass or fail. Right, so I'm telling Andres, like, okay, I just assigned this to you. What I want you to do is I want you to move it through this workflow for validation and reassign it to Brian when we either get into pass or fail. So what could happen here is Andres is like, okay, I get the notification. I'm working on this Quark Globe. This is one of our ideas. So I'm going to fill out the scorecard. You can see that the scorecard is already filled out, 250 positive, and also fill out the profits tool. So Andres is going to move this down. He's going to fill out scorecard, fill out profits tool, and then decide based on this with the Quark Globe saying 250 positive. We'd have to see what the budget required to launch for this product would be. And then we're going to either pass, fail. And then at this point, Andres would say, okay, we're going to reassign this back to Bryant and then maybe leave him a similar comment inside of the doc. And so now as a manager, what you're able to do is you're able to get a high level overview of, okay, here's our whole product portfolio, or it's our portfolio for a client. And we want to move things down further and further. With those examples earlier of the cat tree, again, I could do the same thing. I could say, okay, we had the cat tree and pre-optimization holding, but now we have someone on the team who's really good at doing SEO. They know the workflow. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassign this and I'm going to give it to Scott, and I'm going to move it from pre-optimization into SEO. Okay. And then now I'm going to, I don't know exactly how this is going to display, but I'm going to say, Scott, we need to get organic ranks up for the cat tree. Just reassigned this to you. Get it through SEO optimization and change owner. And I'm going to say not change owner, but reassign to me, Anthony. You'll see that the comments from me. But now I click post. Now Scott's going to get a notification and he's going to say, okay, my tasks for today is I got to go inside DataDive and I got to run that SEO, the optimization workflow, right? And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to come up with goals for your organization and you're going to say, man, if we as a team sat down and took all of these small micro actions, whether it's for validating products, launching products, optimizing products, you're going to build out these workflows. And then every day you're going to go in and you're going to say, or your managers are going to go in and they're going to say to your team, all right, you need to progress your product, the product that you're managing, you need to progress it through this workflow. And every single day, you're going to see these little benefits, these little positive impacts that are going down to your brand. So I think that's where we'll wrap it up right now. Really, this is just for managing the workflow. I've already got some notes and ideas that I'm going to send back to the dev team. one of the points of feedback that we got in the last time I was showing this to someone is like, if I leave a comment inside of the product scorecard, can we navigate that person, that user directly to the area where the comment was made, just so they can see the comment and see exactly what they were looking at, as well as some UI fixes. I have noticed that sometimes dragging things when you're going far, right? Like if you're pulling it beyond the screen, it can actually kind of get lost, which is why you saw me just manually updating them here. I think that's probably pretty easy to fix. If you have, what I would recommend as your homework is to just go and you already have all of these products in unassigned. So like go set up your spaces, go set up your labels, start pulling products from your unassigned and dropping them into the correct stage of the workflow, categorize the product by spaces, and show your team this video when it goes up live on YouTube. So let's get back into this. We're going to wrap up. I just have one more thing to show you, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. We're onboarding enterprise teams right now with how to use this and get more value out of it. So if it seems new or it seems like there's a lot of setup, don't worry. That's totally normal. So we showed you this, learn the workflows. This is the enterprise workflow. We showed you this, set up your spaces, set up labels, categorize your niches, set up rank tracking, assign workflow, and optimize. This is only going to get better as time goes on. So set this up now, and you'll put yourself in a position to be really well organized. So this is a little sneak peek for next week, and I think the next 4 weeks, because we've already got some really good case studies in the pipeline. We're going to get into real world case studies. So in the example that we're going to be showing next week, we had a user that was able to increase their average organic rank from 71 up to an average position of 13 in only 30 days. And so we're going to be going through some of the strategies that they took to get there. And we're going to follow this format for the next 4+ weeks, showing you a different example every week. And the thought is to show you what went right, what went wrong, how long did these workflows take, what's going to be the impact in their business. And I won't give you any spoilers, but this one was obviously a really good positive result. Would you rather be showing up in these very low organic rank positions, or would you rather be having organic ranks that look like this? And the cool news is this was only done in 30 days. Imagine if these actions were taken on a longer time frame, and that's what we're going to cover. We have another example where someone went from being indexed for like 50% of the MKL to 99% of the MKL. So look in your niches and see what are the people who are the top sellers in that category, what percentage of the keywords in the MKL are they indexed for, how much sales are they making, and ask yourself, would you like to be there? We're going to show you some people that have accomplished that.